Hey!
Do you live in abject terror of cutting your fingers off on the table saw? Fear no more. This portion of In the Workshop is brought to you by Microgig, makers of the Gripper.
Okay, well, I say this is the season finale for this series of videos, but I may possibly just discontinue them altogether. The original idea for this was that I would do a video quickly every week and kind of cover the previous week's projects or cover questions that I've been getting on the previous videos. But all in all, these videos have proven to be a little bit more time consuming to do, and they're taking time and attention away from other things that I really should be concentrating on, like website articles, and also my other channel has really suffered because of these videos. So I may bring these back in the fall. I'm not certain at this point. I really see more value in the kind of shorter videos that I've been doing lately. The tips videos and some of the other things that I've been doing. They're a lot quicker to do and they seem to get a little bit more attention. People seem to like them a little bit better, so stick with that for now. Also, you're probably going to see a little bit less over the rest of the summer because I am quite busy with my house renovation and that's taking up all of my time. So it was about a couple weeks ago that I made this OSB stool and it's turned into quite a popular video actually. I was surprised. And I've gotten a few questions on it. People wanted to know, first of all, how heavy it is, how rugged it is, how comfortable it is. It's very comfortable. I really like how the back supports your back as you lean back. Also, the seat, it's really not very clear on the video, but the seat is actually cupped out to conform a little bit better. And I did that by laying the layers, cutting the layers actually successively shorter so that I built in a contour and then I finished it off with belt sanding. And then I did the same with the back. As for how heavy it is, it's just a little bit less than what a full sheet of OSB, 5/8 OSB would be. Because I used pretty much a whole sheet for this. So it is quite heavy. I would guess maybe 50 pounds, 45, 50 pounds. If I had to do it again, I would reduce the size of the legs and the seat here a little bit. This is 3 inches and it really doesn't need to be. This is really very solid. Someone said it's nice and all, but will it survive the Wandle jump test? So I'm going to try that now. Okay, that seems to be doing more damage to me than it is to the stool. Someone else asked me if I was going to make a set. No, this is a one-off project. I got the idea back in the winter after finishing my chest of drawers for the workbench. Someone asked me if you can make anything, you know, like fine furniture with OSB. And I have used OSB for other things in the past. I built a subwoofer actually with it, and that turned out pretty well. I don't have a picture of that though, or maybe I do, I'll have a look. But for the most part, when you're building something, the usual deciding factor in how good it turns out is not the material that you're using, but the time and attention and experience of the builder that's doing it. It was last week that I built the disc belt sander, and I had a few questions on that. Mainly positive comments on it. I had a couple of people saying, well, why do I have to pay for the plans? Well, the fact is that something like this, where I make a plan for it, it takes a massive amount of time, and it's actually a massive effort from beginning to end. I built a prototype 2 years ago. I had it on the shelf ever since. Okay, I had a lot of time invested in the prototype, coming up with the idea, working through the problems, doing the initial build. It all took a lot of time. Then I had to refine the plan, which takes a massive amount of time by itself, then rebuild the whole thing again. So You're talking about a fair chunk of my life invested in something like this that I sell plans for next to nothing, actually, when you consider what you're getting. So during the filming of the assembly, the parts weren't painted. I didn't show any of that because I really ran out of time to get everything done. I had to build the project and videotape that and do the editing on that. I also had to write the 3-page article that's on my website that covers the other parts that are not shown in the video. And I also had to get the plan finished, uploaded to my site, make sure that everything was working properly. It all boils down to, you know, that Saturday morning at 8 o'clock when I release all 3 at the same time. And it's quite a big event, actually, when you try to do it on your own. So a couple days later I did paint it. I took it all apart and I painted the individual pieces. I just grabbed some spray paint that I had in my shed. I had some yellow that was still working, and I had some blue that I painted the majority of the project with, and I used some black on the sanding disc down here just to try to seal up the MDF a little bit. MDF will absorb moisture, so I want to try to seal that up as much as I can. As for painting it, you really don't need to do that. It makes it look a little bit better, but it's still going to work exactly the same way whether it's finished or unfinished. Now the belt that I used is a standard 1x30 belt. The design could be modified to use a 1x42 by extending this arm, this is part C1 and C2, upwards and making some of the other parts longer. It wouldn't really be that much complication added to the build to make it accommodate a 1x42 belt. I had a couple people ask me about the motor size and speed that I would recommend for this. In fact, I would recommend that you run it from a regular handheld drill, either battery powered or a plug-in one that runs around 2,000 RPMs at maximum speed. That seems to work the best. As for motors, I would say 1/3 horsepower and less should drive it no problem. Speed, you'd want to be around 1725 for wood, and if you're going to be doing metal, you would want to get a higher speed, so you would be around 3,500. I had a couple of emails from people asking me where I got the bearings. I bought these bearings about 1.5 years ago from vxb.com. I'm not promoting their website or anything like that, but I can say that the price was reasonable and the shipping was very fast and also reasonable. The other question was, where would you get the shaft that I used? In the prototype I used a threaded rod. In this one I use a smooth shaft and shaft collars. The best place to find something like this is at a hardware store that sells, hardware for farm equipment. There are TSC stores in a lot of places that would sell 3/8 smooth shaft like this. In my case, I ordered it online and I got it 36 inches long. I think it was something like $6 for the shaft, and I've had it for a couple of years now just sitting around. Another possibility for the shaft is to use a long 3/8 bolt, if you can find them. A lot of hardware stores don't have 10 or 12-inch long bolts, but some do. If you go to the right place, all you need to do is then cut the head off the bolt and cut the threads off, and then you've got the smooth shaft. Some sizes may vary, but I think in general they're going to be pretty close to 3/8 of an inch, and the bearing should fit on there no problem. If you have to shim a little bit for the bearing, or do like I did, I had to actually turn this one down a little bit on my drill press with the file, then that works as well. That's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow I have another video, and it's on making wooden step pulleys. That's fairly interesting, so I hope you tune in for that. As usual, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Okay, well, a lot of people got confused about why you would need to start a nail with one hand like this. Mainly you would do it when you're trying to hold something up with one hand and you only got one hand free to drive the nail. So you would start the nail with this hand and drive it in. And that would be one of the situations where you'd need to use that trick. And you only got one hand free to drive the nail. So you would start the nail with this hand. Clearly a defective hammer. Zoom in a little bit. Zoom in. Blow away the mosquito. All right. Ready to rock and roll.